Okay, I'm going to show you guys how to make this number 3 digit granny square. I do have other tutorials of other number digits for you to check out. And please like and subscribe. If you like what I'm doing, I appreciate it more than you know. Anyway, let's get started. I'm going to be using a 5mm hook. You'll need a darning needle and some scissors, and then I'm using DK weight yarn. I'll link everything below as well. All right, start with a slip knot. Chain 24. And then starting in the second chain from our hook, we'll single crochet and single crochet into each chain. So you should end up with 23 single crochets. And then chain 1 and turn, and then the next 2 rows are going to be single crochet rows. So single crochet all the way down for this row, and then 1 more single crochet row after. So a total of 3 single crochet rows if you include the first one that we just made. And then I'll meet you back once we've finished our 3 single crochet rows. Okay, I've finished my first 3 single crochet rows. And now we're on to row 4. So chain 1 and turn. And then we're gonna do 9 single crochets, but that 9th one we're gonna switch colors. So don't complete that 9th single crochet. And I'll show you when we get there. 8 and 9, so we're not going to complete it. We're going to complete it with a new color. So I'll show you how we'll do that. Bring your working yarn onto this side. We don't want it hanging on the other side because we need all of the yarn to stay on one side. This is going to be the back side of the granny square. And then grab your new color. And pull it through to complete that single crochet. You can kind of hold the other working yarn a little bit as you go. Grab the working yarn of the new color. And then the next stitch is going to be a bubble stitch, specifically a 5 double crochet bubble stitch. So yarn over, insert, grab your yarn, pull it through. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, insert, grab your yarn, pull it through, yarn over, pull through 2, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, insert, grab your yarn, pull it through, yarn over, pull through 2, 4 loops on your hook, yarn over, insert, grab your yarn, pull it through, yarn over, pull through 2, 5 loops on your hook, yarn over, insert, grab your yarn, pull it through, yarn over, pull through 2, should have 6 loops on your hook, and then yarn over, pull through all the loops on your hook. So that's a 5 double crochet bubble stitch. And then we'll single crochet into the next stitch. And then we'll do another bubble stitch into the next stitch. So yarn over, insert, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, one more time, pull through 2. Should have 6 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all the loops, and then single crochet into the next stitch. And then we'll do 1 more bubble stitch, but that one we're not gonna complete with this color, so I'll show you that. So just do another bubble stitch like we've been doing. Pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, and pull through 2. 6 loops on your hook. So instead of completing the last step with this color, we're gonna switch back to our other color to complete that bobble stitch. So just drag that other color over from wherever it's at. Don't make it too tight because it'll curve your work. Then yarn over with the new color and pull through all the loops. And make sure your working yarn is on this side. And then single crochet into the next stitch. And then single crochet for the rest of the row. Should be 9 single crochets total. Okay, and then chain 1 and turn. And then this is just going to be a single crochet row, but I'll show you working into the bobble stitches because it can be kind of hard to see where to go. So I'll show you that when we get there. So just single crochets. Okay, so you have to work into the V. So it's gonna be kind of facing back instead of up because the bobble stitch kind of curves it. And you know it's a V versus like other parts of the bobble stitch because it's coming out of another V of the single crochet after it. So I hope that helps. So find that V, single crochet, and then single crochet, and then once again, you kind of gotta turn it to see it. And that's where you go. And then just keep crocheting for the rest of the row. And onto row 6, chain 1 and turn, and we'll start with 8 single crochets, and on that 8th one is where we'll switch colors again. All right, so don't finish the last step of the 8th one with that color, and we'll switch colors, drag it over. Make sure to give yourself enough slack there. And then the next stitch will be a bobble stitch. And we'll switch colors here again. So we'll complete the bobble stitch with the other color, pull through, and then we'll do 5 single crochets. And the 5th one we won't complete with that color. Switch colors again. And then the next stitch will be a bobble stitch. All right, and we'll switch colors again to complete this bobble stitch. Pull through with a new color, and then single crochet for the rest of the row. Should be 8 single crochets. And then chain 1 and turn, and then this row is just going to be a single crochet row. And onto row 8, chain 1 and turn, And we're going to do 14 single crochets. And 14. Complete that 14th stitch with that color. Switch colors and bobble stitch into the next stitch. And once again, we won't complete this bobble stitch. Finish it off, switching colors, and then single crochet for the rest of this row. Should be 8 single crochets. And then chain 1 and turn. And once again, just like after every bobble stitch row, this will just be a single crochet row. And onto row 10, chain 1 and turn. And we'll start with 13 single crochets. And 13. I won't complete it yet. Switch colors. And bobble stitch into the next stitch. And switch colors again to complete that bobble stitch. Oops. Tangled up here. Oh no. And then single crochet for the rest of the row. Should be 9 single crochets. And then chain 1 and turn. And just a single crochet row. Onto row 12, chain 1 and turn. And we'll start with 10 single crochets. And we'll switch colors on that 10th one. And 10. And bobble stitch into the next stitch. And this one, we're not going to switch colors for the next single crochet because there's only going to be 1 single crochet in between the bobble stitches, so you won't be able to see it. So we'll keep the same color. So finish that bobble stitch with the same color and then single crochet to the next stitch, and then bobble stitch into the next stitch. And this one we will switch colors. So pull through with the new color. And then single crochet, rest of the row. Should be 10 single crochets. Chain 1 and turn. And surprise, surprise, it's a single crochet row. And onto row 14, chain 1 and turn. And we'll do 13 single crochets here. And 13, not gonna complete with that color because we'll switch colors for our next stitch, bubble stitch. And once again, we'll switch colors here and then single crochet. The rest of the row should be 9 single crochets. And then chain 1 and turn, and we'll do a single crochet row. Onto row 16, chain 1 and turn, do 14 single crochets, and 14th one we won't complete with that color. We'll switch colors here and bobble stitch into the next stitch, and we'll switch colors again here. And single crochet for the rest of the row. Should be 8 single crochets. And we'll chain 1 and turn and single crochet for this row. Onto row 18, chain 1 and turn. We'll start with 8 single crochets. And the 8th one, we won't complete with that color. Switch colors here. And bobble stitch into the next stitch. And switch colors again. Five single crochets, and the 5th one, switch colors again, and bobble into the next stitch. And once again, gonna switch colors. And we'll single crochet for the rest of the row. Should be 8 single crochets. Chain 1 and turn, and single crochet for this row. Onto row 20, chain 1 and turn, and we'll start with 9 single crochets, and the 9th one we will complete with the other color. And bobble stitch into the next stitch. And here we can keep the same color because there's only going to be 1 single crochet between each bobble. Single crochet into the next, and then bobble into the next stitch, and complete this one with the same color and single crochet into the next stitch, and then bobble stitch into the next stitch, and we'll switch colors here, and then single crochet for the rest of the row. Should be 9 single crochets, chain 1 and turn, and this is a single crochet row, and after this single crochet row we'll do 2 more single crochet rows, so a total of 3 single crochet rows, and then you can fasten off with your brown color or primary color, and then from there we'll do the border. So I'll meet you back after completing the last 3 rows of single crochets. All right, I've finished my last 3 single crochet rows, and now we're going to do the border. And what I'm going to do, because the border is exactly the same for each number digit granny square, I'm just going to insert the clip of doing the border when I did granny square number digit 1. But so don't be confused by that, but it's going to be exactly the same. So follow that next, and then really we're done. So I'm going to finish my border here as well, and then I'll see you back here. You can cut this and then just rejoin. However, I'm going to leave it because then it's just one less tail to weave in. at the end. So I'm just gonna drag it over. I'm gonna start in the top left corner. I'm also gonna work around my tails as I go as best as I can. So I'm gonna bring this mint color over. I'm gonna start in this last stitch here. So that last single crochet that we had made. And then I'm gonna pull it through. Make sure it's not too tight. And then chain 1. And then in that same stitch, we're gonna single crochet, and we're gonna single crochet into the side of each row. So basically in between each knot. So you can kind of pull your stitches apart to be able to see better, but basically between each knot, or what looks like a knot, is where you'll single crochet. So we already did this first one, and then next one, and the next one, and we're just gonna do that all along the side here. And then that last one is kind of like in that foundation chain, so it might look slightly different. So it should end up being 24 single crochets along this side, and along the bottom and also then the top. We're just going to increase into the center stitch by adding a stitch, and that's just so we can end up with 24 single crochets as well. First, we will chain 2 though, to make our corner. And then we will single crochet into that same stitch that we just single crocheted into, because now we're working into the side, the other side of it. So into that same stitch. $11, and then into that 12th stitch, we're going to do 2 single crochets, and that will be our increase that we need. So 2 into the same stitch, and then just single crochet for the rest of the row. And then 24. So you should have 24 single crochets now along that edge. And then chain 2, and we're going to do the same thing along this side as we did on the other side by single crocheting into the side of each row. But the first one will be into that same stitch that we just single crocheted into, because now we're working into the other side of it. And once again, you should have 24 single crochets. And now we're going to work along the top edge, just like we did on the bottom edge. So we're going to increase in the 12th stitch. So chain 2, and then working into that same stitch, the last stitch that we single crocheted into, and then into each stitch. 11, and then into the 12th stitch, we'll do 2 single crochets into the same stitch. And then 1 single crochet into each stitch for the rest of the row or round. Okay, I just did my 23rd single crochet, and then the 24th one, so the last one is going to be worked into that same stitch that we started in. That very first stitch, single crochet, and then to complete this round, to join, we're not going to chain 2. Instead, we're going to chain 1, and then single crochet into that first single crochet that we made. Okay. And then we'll chain 1 just to secure it. Okay, and then into that space that we made with that chain 1 and single crochet, we're going to single crochet into that. So you kind of have to pull your stitches apart a little bit. You want to work under that single crochet. So single crochet. And then single crochet into each stitch. So it should end up being 26 single crochets total if you include the corner ones. I just did my 25th single crochet, and now into that chain 2 space that we had made in the last round, we'll do our 26th single crochet, and then chain 2, and then into that same chain space, single crochet again. And then single crochet into each stitch. So we're just going to repeat that until we get back to the beginning. So single crochet, and then into that chain 2 space, single crochet, chain 2, and single crochet, and then single crochet, and then into this corner, chain 2 space, single crochet, chain 2, and single crochet, and then single crochet into each stitch. And then I'll show you how we're going to end this round. So I'll meet you back once you have finished and when you're back at the beginning. I just did my second to last single crochet, so my 25th single crochet of this side, and then into that same space that we started this round in, we're gonna work our last single crochet. And to end this round, we're going to chain 2, and then we're gonna do an invisible join. So give yourself a long enough tail, about like at least 6 inches. Grab your darning needle or tapestry needle, whatever you want to call it. And we're going to insert into the second single crochet of the round. And that's because we're going to cover up the first one with a fake stitch, basically. So here's the first single crochet of the round. We're going to insert under the second single crochet of the round. So insert, bring your needle back, and then into that chain that your tail's coming out of. So that chain we made, second chain we made, here's our tail. We're going to basically work into the back loop of that, and then pull through, tighten slightly, and you can see that it makes a V, so it makes a fake stitch. And then you gotta weave it in pretty good to secure it. And then weave in any remaining tails. All right, I've finished my border now too, and we're done. I hope you really enjoyed that tutorial. Please like and subscribe if you like what I'm doing here. And don't forget to check out the other number digit tutorials and my other videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.